What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be going back to the 90s. As you can imagine, I've been on my 90s shit recently, and I've been going back to action flicks, man, and I'm just falling in love over again with certain actors, certain films, although they might be repetitive when it comes to talking about the action genre, especially back in the 90s after Bruce Willis had his hit, right? Die Hard. A lot of films took that topic and took that kind of cliche, right? And they made it into their own and threw it out there, right? We got very similar movies. You know, we've got movies where they blow up buildings, where they go on boats, Steven Seagal's Under Siege, Van Damme. They go into a hockey rink. In Broken Arrow, they go into the desert. They go into a cave, try to blow the shit up. And then, you have your car chases, right? You have the Fast and the Furious franchise that came out in the early 2000s. Before that, you had Point Break, who I think was a ripoff, right, for Fast and the Furious, and they took it off from there. It's basically a carbon copy. Then you get films like the one I'm about to mention, and this is another Wesley Snipes led film called P-57, Passenger 57, back from 1992. And to me, this is not just your standard action-packed movie. It was a really good movie. I know it didn't get a lot of good reviews back then because it was a kind of unorganic or whatever it is, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. My whole thing is, if you didn't see the film, you've been living under a rock. This is one of Wesley Snipes' breakout roles. When you just imagine an expert security agent who's still kind of mourning the death of his wife. He embarks on a large plane, assisted by this beautiful hostess, played by Alex Thatcher and Elizabeth Hurley, one of the earliest film roles for both of them. And then he finds himself accidentally trapped in the middle of an airline that's being hijacked, executed by none other than Bruce Payne, playing this arch-villain terrorist. And he's committed numerous terrorist acts himself. He hijacks this plane with his crew, seizes control of it, and Wesley Snipes, whose name is Cutter in the film, has to do what he has to do. And this film, I think, was top notch, not only because of obviously Wesley Snipes and his martial arts ability, but he gives his swag. He puts his spit in this role, and it helps when you have Tom Sizemore and the great Bruce Greenwood acting in it as well. I think the chemistry between all those characters and the dynamic between him and even his love interest in the film, Alex Thatcher, was really good to see on screen. The film packs non-stop action from beginning to end. It's actually a quick, well-paced film. Has a lot of suspense, tension, obviously lots of violence. It's a Wesley Snipes film. When the murders and fights start happening, this movie starts to not only become high-level entertainment, but it becomes quite entertaining. It's a run-of-the-mill action film in which I feel like the pacing was perfect because the action to me never stopped. From the beginning scene, which could be a little out the norm, though. I think the beginning scene, I'm not gonna give it away for you, but it was kind of outlandish and a little too. That was one of my gripes with the film. This terrorist, this bad guy in the film, he just seems to get away very conveniently. That's something that, after years watching this film over and over again, that's something I learned to see. I was like, damn, they made that a little too simple, but it doesn't take me out the film. It's still quite enjoyable from beginning to ending, like I mentioned. And it's pretty much a thriller with an emotional and continuous pace. This film, I think years ago, was scheduled to air on Stars Entertainment, and due to 9/11, obviously, with the themes of terrorism on our plane and stuff like that, they canceled, putting it, and I'm sure now they'll put it on something like Tubi or even maybe Hulu. But Wesley Snipes is top notch. I think he was born for the role. He was born to be an action hero, turning into this tough action man in films like Murder 1600, Money Train, which we're going to do a review down the line on, U.S. Marshal, and not to mention Blade, which we're going to be talking about pretty soon. And I feel like there's nobody like him. You know, he's one of those guys before he got locked up for, you know, not paying taxes. He was on his way to just having such a stellar career, and pretty much had a stellar career still. But he's excellent. And what I like about him and Bruce Payne's characters were they're very excellent together. And Bruce Payne's character is very ruthless. He's extremely intelligent, very villainous, obviously. And he always plays the part, as always. You know, he's this megalomaniac in the film, and it's nasty. He's spectacular in the role. This is a film that you definitely want to go see. It has a musical score like no other by Stanley Clarke, if you're into the scores of the film, which I'm heavily into. And the score is just it's just appropriately adjusted to the action scenes. It's perfect. It's like a Hans Zimmer kind of feel. The motion picture obviously was directed by Kevin Hooks, and as usual at that time, he was a TV director also. You know, Robert Hooks, who also plays FBI agent Dwight Henderson in the film, you know, is the father of Kevin Hooks, which was pretty cool. That father-son dynamic doing a film like this, and the film obviously appealed to multiple communities, appealed to the action genre enthusiasts just like myself. And to me, it's a must-see if you're a Wesley Snipes fan. This is one of those films that you gotta have. I followed this movie since I was young. You know, I love the dynamic between characters, and I like when you see chemistry. And Wesley Snipes and Bruce Payne, they spark well off each other as a troubled hero and this psychotic villain. They're given complete support by the rest of the cast, which goes a long way. Although one of my small complaints is how they kind of utilize some actors in the film. Ernie Lively does a nice turn as the police chief, and essentially Passenger 57 to me was a solid action film, well paced, has enough intriguing characters, has really good action scenes to keep you interested throughout the runtime. The only thing I feel like the movie lacked towards the finale. It was enjoyable nonetheless, but the finale felt kind of rushed. I think they could have did a little better ending the film, but I have no gripes on how they ended the film. Just the way they could have took a little more time. The movie is not a long movie, so they could have added 10 more minutes to the ending. And you know what I liked about this, that not only Wesley Snipes delivers the action, but he gets his Schwarzenegger on in this movie. And what I mean by that is he has one of the most iconic and famous one-liners ever in a film, and it's always bet on black. I loved it. You know what I mean? That's obviously, I know back in the day that must have got the audience out your feet. I didn't get to see this in the movie theater. Obviously, I was a baby back in 1992, but when I did see it in video, I lost my mind. I was like, oh, that's such a cool line. And then obviously knowing what the meaning is now is like, it's fucking killer. It's a killer line. So Wesley Snipes is the man. Definitely check out this movie. I gave this movie pretty much a 7 out of 10. It's fun, it's action packed, has drama, both land and air, which is super generic, but it plays well for the film. Definitely go check it out if you haven't. And let me know what you think on the Discord, man. And I look forward to your opinion. Thanks for listening to mine. To the next one.